Now begins the recitation of the Aletheon, the divine avataric self-revelation of his divine presence, Avatar Adi Da Samraj. Part 2. First things first. On transcending the insubordinate mind of religion and science. All modes of human religion and science are point of view based systems of presumed knowledge that prescribe and limit what is known and define what is allowable to be known. All modes of human religion and science are attempts to tribalize and thus to localize and control knowledge such that it characterizes and protects a collective political, social, and cultural mode of mind. All modes of human religion and science are systematic patterns of mind that are impulsed to acquire or assimilate particular subjects or conceptually and perceptually identified pattern fields of apprehension in order by objectifying, naming, categorizing, symbolically representing, and systematically interiorizing and enclosing them to appropriate, exploit, control, replace, and ultimately eviscerate and annihilate them. All modes of human religion and science are tribal artifacts of the human ego world of presumed psychophysically separate identities, wherein the will to survive by competitive effort demonstrates itself by acts of will in order to dominate the subject or patterns that are conceived and perceived as threats to collective, and by implication individual and even personal survival, pleasure, well-being, and independence. All modes of human religion and science seek to dominate both non-conditional or divine and conditional or temporal and spatial subjects via substitution ideas, either by means of sacred conceptual and or perceptual language, such as deity, myths, and otherwise religious modes of philosophical language, or by means of secular conceptual and or perceptual language, such as materiality myths and otherwise scientific modes of philosophical language. All modes of human religion or science, including all deity myths or God ideas, and all materiality myths or objective reality ideas, are artifacts of the human ego effort to protect and extend the local interests of human collectives by means of idea invocation, wherein and whereby reality itself, which is intrinsically egoless, indivisible, non-separate, and merely acausally present as the context of all apparently arising conditions, is identified as an opponent, objectified as an other, invoked as an ally, indulged and exploited as a captive, and at last desecrated and destroyed as a convicted criminal and victim. Reality itself cannot be known, controlled, or destroyed. Reality itself is not a deity or a material entity or an object of any kind. Reality itself is self-evidently divine, and all must be intrinsically and perfectly subordinated to reality itself in order, thus and thereby, to realize intrinsic and perfectly subjective coincidence and perfect self-apprehension, or intrinsic self-apperception of the perfectly egoless and absolutely non-dual self-nature, self-condition, and self-state that is reality itself. Here ends the recitation of the heart word of Adida Samraj.